Hi, I'm Suneel Darshan, and you're watching Bollywood Hungama.
It's a huge privilege and honor to have renowned producer-director Suneel Darshan with us. His movie is coming up, Ek Haseena Thi, Ek Deewana Tha, which he has produced as well as directed. We'll talk about that and much more. Pleasure having you on Bollywood Hungama, first of all, sir.
Thank you.
And sir, as I was about to talk to you, and we were just doing the research as well, and we realized that you had such phenomenal body of work both as a producer and director. Many would feel, and you're looking so young right now as well. Why is it that you've not been doing films on a regular basis?
Firstly, thank you for the compliments, and I really appreciate the fact that you've studied the body of my work, because I do understand that I have not really been a very media savvy filmmaker. And I think I stayed away from media for the past whole decade. And I thought people would have forgotten me. But to my surprise, last year my films were put onto the YouTube, and they were available to the public. And they grossed a humongous 150 million views in 1 year. And the songs grossed over 300 million hits. Okay. So it was really gratifying. I was really touched. I have been, I just realized that a good filmmaker never dies.
Absolutely, absolutely. So as you were talking, we'll come to Ek Haseena Thi, Ek Deewana Tha shortly, but as I was telling you a short while back that we have spoken about Janwar in our interviews with Mr. Akshay Kumar many times. He has been there with me, Tahir has been there, he will stand testimony to that as well. That we have discussed, because Janwar was a film that came at a time when Akshay Kumar had several films which had not worked, and that film just transformed things for him in a big way, and even as an actor it put him in a different league altogether. How do you look back at Janwar now, sir?
For me, Janwar was, is and will always remain a very special movie, because somewhere that was the first movie where I could actually sit, work and create, because I was not having the pressure of working with stars and superstars, because at that point of time Akshay Kumar was going through a very low phase, and a lot of people had written him off, to be honest. And somewhere what happens when you have such a humongous big catalogue of unsuccessful movies, you lose your confidence in yourself by the way the environment behaves with you. And at that point of time, when I started working with him, I got a call one day. I was making Janwar. Actually, so Janwar, the script was written with Sunny Deol in mind, but things didn't work out with him. And then a very big star got to know about this movie, the script that I had, and he offered to participate in it. And I almost okayed him when I got a call from Akshay Kumar, and he wanted to meet me immediately, and he was keen to work on this film with me. I always thought Akshay Kumar was a very handsome guy. I realized that he was going through a very bad phase, which also meant that he would be more comfortably available to the film. I was viewing it everything with the positivity. And yes, I knew that I would not be able to market the film well enough. But then my whole approach was that even if I don't, don't market it, eventually the end product is going to be taken to the viewers by my own efforts, and I'm sure that the viewers would love to watch a movie like this.
Right.
And so I took on this onerous task of making this movie, which I was writing, producing, directing, and building up, and with Akshay Kumar. And it was a great opportunity, trust me, because in the process of the movie, was actually breaking those barriers within him.
Right.
And bringing the emotion out of that man. And if you watch Janwar, it has so many beautiful moments, where the Akshay Kumar that you've seen in all the movies before that, he was different from all of them.
He was.
Yes.
He was definitely. Even I think as an actor, he just came into his own. He just totally dug deep into it, and he really seemed to be enjoying it as well. You've also worked with him in another, I think, very emotional movie, which was Ek Rishta, where you had Mr. Bachchan and
I'm most emotional about that movie, by the way, because I really thought working with Mr. Amitabh Bachchan was a true honor. At that phase, when Mr. Bachchan was really exclusive, wouldn't work in too many movies, and he was doing movies, he decided to do movies with the newer lot of directors. At that point of time, there was Aditya Chopra, with whom he was working. Karan Johar, with whom he was working, Rakesh Mehra, with whom he was working, and he was working with me. And I thought it was a great opportunity, and I had a great script again. Ek Rishta is a movie that is closest to my heart, because I feel when I wrote the script, I had just one premise in mind, that if with the script I can touch one heart, if I can make one family come to terms, I'm going to be a winner. And post the release of the movie, when I would go for parties or even meet people, there would be so many people who came up to me and they said, thank you. And what happened? And I knew what it was. And they said, your movie made a difference to our lives. We rebuilt our relationships with our father, or rebuilt our relationship with our child and stuff like that. So that was a victory of sorts for me.
No, absolutely. I still remember the publicity material that came out at that point of time. Akshay Kumar had repeatedly said, because he was extremely close to his father. And in many ways, it was a catharsis for him to just relive that entire moment with Mr. Bachchan. And I personally feel, and many would agree, that he has based his own life in many ways on Mr. Bachchan in terms of punctuality and in terms of discipline. He is exactly like Mr. Bachchan. That's what I personally feel. So I think he looks up to.
That's a very big honor to him.
It is. It is, but he's exactly like Mr. Bachchan in that manner, in terms of punctuality, in terms of discipline.
Have qualities of the best.
Yeah, and to have that Karam Yogi element, that picture chale na chale, he has to follow that routine, daily routine. चाहे कुछ भी हो जाए, अक्षय कुमार का वही रहता है और मिस्टर बच्चन का भी वही है. That whether the movie works or not, his daily routine will be exactly like that, come what may. Ek Rishta, definitely, I think a very important film as far as you're concerned, and it connected with a lot of people, and such films, I think, that they live on. I'm sure that even on YouTube, it must be getting a great response as well.
Over a crore hits there.
Must be. Okay, and then you had Andaz. You introduced Priyanka Chopra, who's winning the world now.
Lara Datta and Priyanka Chopra.
Yeah, obviously, Lara Datta we're coming to shortly, but since Lara is booked and married, and she is doing very well as well. But Priyanka is someone who has gone to the world now.
Yes.
She is literally being accepted by the world in a big way. She was not merely Miss World.
She was a Miss World, and she decided she's a very ambitious girl. She's a woman with a man's mind. That's how I always define her.
That's a very interesting way of saying it. She's a woman with a man's mind.
Yeah, because I feel Priyanka Chopra is such a go-getter. She sets a target and goes and achieves it. I remember right at the start of her career, once she said, "I'd love to work with Shah Rukh Khan." And see how she had him. And she did several movies with him, if I'm not wrong.
Right.
So I thought Priyanka Chopra is a very determined girl. She decided to go and do international cinema. There she is. So she sets a target and achieves it.
Absolutely.
Again, I remember when Priyanka Chopra walked into my office, I really didn't know whether I really wanted to meet her or not, because I had another actress in mind for that role.
Okay.
But her secretary kept persisting, and I said, "Chalo, bula lo par." And it was right in this room. I was sitting on that table there. She entered from this door. And when I looked at her, I said, "Oh, this is unconventional beauty." I had worked with Karishma Kapoor's, Kareena Kapoor's. They were conventionally beautiful girls.
Bilkul.
And this was unconventional. She was chocolatey in her skin tone. But 2 minutes into her, and I realized what it was. She reminded me of an actress I'd met years ago, called Rekha, whose eyes worked, whose voice worked, whose body language worked.
Yeah.
And I was 100% sure, and I was the only person in my entire crew who was 100% sure that this is the next Rekha coming, and she's going to make it.
Wow, that's very interesting. I think interesting comparison for Priyanka, but which I don't think anyone has done so far. And you introduced both Lara as well as Priyanka in a glamorous avatar. Both of them, they wore swimming costumes, and it was quite a progressive, forward
presentation of the girls, because I thought these were girls coming in from a new age. All the actresses before them belonged to the earlier segment. And when we cast Priyanka and Lara in that movie, we decided to glamorize them because they were glamour girls. Lara was a great body herself,
right,
and Miss Universe in her own right, very articulate, intelligent. But they were so different from each other that they complemented each other perfectly.
Yeah.
If Lara was this, Priyanka was this, So they were great, the great girls at that point of time to work with.
Absolutely. Okay, and Mr. Darshan, you've had this, I think, phenomenal ear for music as well. Your music works always. The music of Ek Haseena Thi, Ek Deewana Tha is working very well as well. We'll come to that shortly, trust me. But you've had, I think, a wonderful luck with music as well. All your movies. And I still remember even, just say, when I'm looking at your filmography, you produced a film called Ha Maine Bhi Pyar Kiya. I still remember that the music of that film worked
phenomenally good,
really well. Yeah. And Barsat ke bare mein aap abhi zikr kar rahe the. Barsat, the music worked really well. Yeah. Andaz, every movie, Janwar for that matter.
Even Lutere for that matter.
Lutere was phenomenal at that point. Lutere, I think interiors made it work really super.
No, the movie was. I thought it was a brilliant movie for an urban audience, and the fact that it got accepted everywhere. And today, you know, often I meet people who often tell me that Lutere rates amongst their favorite movies. So it makes me feel very happy.
Right. And your brother directed that, Dharmesh Darshan.
That's where Dharmesh Darshan was launched.
Yeah, he directed that film.
Yes.
And I spoke to him a few months back as well, and we are still in touch. Looking at him, he's such a suave and composed guy, but the command that he had on the masses, do you find it a bit surprising? He speaks English in such a polished manner, both of you, but that pulse जो एक होता है audience का, and that too like interiors का pulse पकड़ना बॉम्बे में रह के it's not easy.
Well, I think he's an established filmmaker, so his body of work speaks for himself, so I'd rather not talk about him.
No problem, sir. Okay, so Ek Haseena Thi, Ek Deewana Tha. Once again, I think considering that you have a new star cast, Shiv is there, Natasha Fernandez and Upen Patel, they are there. I think the USP of the film is that it is produced and directed by Suneel Darshan, and then you have Nadeem Shravan as far as the music is concerned, and music is working very well. What are your thoughts on Ek Haseena Thi, Ek Deewana Tha?
I would differ with you on this score. I feel the USP of the movie is these three relative newcomers presented by me, and three very dedicated workers who've given their best, and me as a director, I feel, have managed to extract the best from them. And it's been a wonderful experience working on this movie, because the entire movie is shot in the UK, and it's got a beautiful look to it, a beautiful feel to it. And the movie was shot in the winters in the UK.
Yeah, that's what.
Just when it was -4s and -3s, and these kids were so enthusiastic that they would still keep working, where no pressure in the world could take the cinema away from them. I love working with people who have that kind of energies.
Wow. Okay, and what makes it different? Because as we were discussing, I was talking to Shiv a short while back, and Nadeem's music, I think it is vintage Nadeem in terms of melody as well as lyrics. Such music, many a times we have seen, it gets you good openings, because music can play a big role in terms of getting your openings as well. Do you feel that?
I have again there I differ in the word that you use. It's not vintage. I think Nadeem is timeless. Because if you realize Dheere Dheere Si Meri Zindagi Mein Aana was recorded in 1989. And in the year 2016 or 15, whenever Bhushan Kumar remixed it and presented it, it was still a blockbuster.
Right.
So Nadeem's music, if you go onto the television channels everywhere, you see his countdowns. They have humongous hits. He has a huge fan following for his good work. And Nadeem is a genius when music is concerned. It's just unfortunate that he's been through these tragedies in his personal life, which have, pulled him away from cinema.
Right. What makes you back him, considering that many
Only
times
one
people...
thing, talent. I'm an absolute Nadeem fan. I love his music. I know the passion that his music can communicate. I haven't, I think there's nobody to touch him even today.
Okay, now, considering that it is, you also, in a way, relaunching Shiv as well, because this is his second film as a director. First film was produced by you. How crucial does it become for you, being as a father as well as...
See, I'll tell you honestly, I'm working with Shiv because I find him to be a very talented and a very dedicated actor. I would not have backed him to indulge him. No, no way. I think I would never do anything like that.
Right.
But here's a boy who deserves an opportunity. He's a bit of a recluse, so he's not the kind who would, who can go out. He's not an extrovert. But within him, there is an actor, a very intelligent boy who's sitting there. And I thought, why not support him? Because he deserves the support. And that's the reason why I made the first movie with him and produced it. And because I thought maybe the times were changing, so we needed a younger director to take off. Unfortunately, the movie did not take off for him. That did not mean that Shiv had to be written off. But the only thing we did was we just shut him up immediately, till the next movie for him could be launched, and that took its natural time.
Right. Okay, and can you tell us something about your other star cast and what
the
is
girl in the movie, Natasha Fernandez? I thought she's pretty attractive and again a fine artist, very dedicated. And you know how I found her? It's a very strange instance. One night I went for dinner to a restaurant and to a salad bar actually in Bandra. And I was there and went plonked myself onto the chair and we ordered, and I saw a girl sitting on the table across. And she was with a friend and she was discussing something with the waiter. I said, oh, look at this girl. 1, 2, 3, 4, and I kept counting. There were over 100 expressions in that little duration of time. I think it's very interesting because often I've worked with actresses who had a package of 10 expressions, which they would manage and maneuver. But here was a girl with 100 expressions, attractive looking, but she was seated at a table and I couldn't really understand her personality in total. So I sent my person across to the table and invited her over to talk to her. And the moment she stood up, I said, wow, she's 5'8". That's great. Good body, a bit heavy, but we can always tone that down. She walked up to me. Her walk was right. I felt this girl, with about 3 or 4 months of working on her, could be packaged and presented right. She had the makings of a star there. And we worked on her. I put her into Saroj Khan's dance classes, sent her to the Varma farm for the riding. So she was groomed into acting in those 4 months. She knocked off a little bit of her weight, and there she was, ready for Ek Haseena Thi, Ek Deewana Tha.
Okay, many would say that you're also relaunching Upen Patel in a way as well, who was part of Shakalaka Boom Boom as well. And he's had his stint with the fact that he was not here, and then he got this fame back with the Big Boss, and he's done a South movie as a negative lead in I. And now he's making his Hindi comeback of sorts after quite a few years.
That's right. Working with Upen in Shakalaka Boom Boom, I realized that the boy was, he had a very good personality. That's why he was the #1 male model in India at that point. And he had the passion to work in cinema. What he really didn't have was the language. And the reason for that was because he was born in UK and bred there, and he had come to India. But because he had picked up an accent right from childhood, it would be a bit difficult for him to actually reform his manner of talking, for which he would take some time. He worked on a few movies which I thought were not right for him. See, Shakalaka Boom Boom may not have worked, but for Upen it was a great showcase because it proved that he could express various emotions, whether it was anger, whether it was a comedy, whether it was romance, whether it was aggression. It all came across right in that movie. And then he did a few movies which didn't work. He got disturbed and depressed. He left India, went back to the UK. But truly, I would say he was lucky because Shankar actually re-seeked him and got him back to India to do that movie called I. Then he came back to Bombay, and we would meet because we had a good equation. And at that point, I was planning this movie. Ek Haseena Thi, Ek Deewana Tha. So since it was, when I was writing the movie, it was a triangular love story. I thought, why not Upen? I knew I could mold him. I knew I needed a boy who would be handsome, who a girl could fall in love with. And so I was essentially putting together a love story. I said, why not Upen? And he deserves a second chance, a second opportunity.
Absolutely.
And he was cast.
Great. So, so what are you doing next? And we hope that you won't be taking too long a sabbatical now.
I want to make a lot of movies now. I'm back to movies. I stayed away from films for a decade, and I used to have the spanks to get back to making movies. So now that I am back, I would say that I'd rather stay here. I love working on cinemas. I love writing scripts. I love directing movies. I know that my audience loves me and my work, so I'd rather be here because I seriously feel at this age of mine, I still have a lot of stories to tell,
Definitely.
a lot of cinema to make. I'd like to leave it for my cinema lovers.
Wow. So you have something in pipeline, sir?
Oh yes, a lot of work that's going to start. I'm going to start announcing movies from July. I just want I always had this habit of I wouldn't get to a second movie till I completed the first,
Wow.
released it. Then I would get it. And that was the reason why there was a movie I was supposed to make, and my previous film was not complete. So I took on another director and made a movie.
Great. So looking forward to Ek Haseena Thi, Ek Deewana Tha, sir, and looking forward to many more announcements from you very soon. And we hope to have many more exciting stuff from you and emotion pack that you are, I think, known for very soon as far as Bollywood is concerned. Thank you very much, sir. Thanks a lot.
Pleasure. Thank you, Faridoon.
Thank you very much. That's all we have from BollywoodHungama. Keep on watching.